Hello everyone, welcome to the latest episode of Uplift. Today we chat with Silvia Fasana, an author who found strength in the midst of her son's difficult diagnosis. Thank you, Silvia, for joining me today all the way from Singapore. I do appreciate you logging on. So would you mind sharing your son's story, please?
Well, good evening and thanks for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here. In 2015, I was pregnant of my fourth baby, and very early, around 11 weeks, I had this diagnosis of anencephaly, which is a malformation incompatible with life. So the moment of the diagnosis was for sure the toughest one, because everything was going well and I didn't have any problem. So I was very calm and happy about this baby. So when the doctor told me there is a problem with the baby, I was really shocked. And even because I was alone, my husband was abroad at that moment. So, and especially because immediately the doctor told me, okay, in this situation, the only option is to stop the pregnancy. You need to go for an abortion. And I was still almost not breathing for the news I just had. And also this, immediately this pushing to go for abortion, it was really very, very hard to deal with. And immediately I told to the doctor, no, sorry, I don't want to do anything. Let me think about, let me understand what is happening, and I will think about with my husband, and then we'll see. This was my first reaction.
Okay, wow, that's obviously a natural reaction. You know, you can be frightened when you get something like that, and it can be quite difficult. Can you share with us what it was like for you when the doctors informed you that your son had a serious diagnosis?
So at the beginning, when I went to do the checkup, I was alone because my husband was abroad, and I was very happy, very calm, because it was my fourth pregnancy. So in my mind, there was nothing that let me think about something was wrong. So when I was on the bed of the doctor, I was, very excited to hear the heartbeat of the baby. And then after a while, I saw immediately the gaze of the doctor, very strange. And immediately I had the feeling something was wrong. So very seriously, she said to me, I really remember this sensation like it was yesterday. She said, there is a problem. There is a problem with the baby's head. He hasn't gotten any bones. And I was like, because there are many kind of anomalies, but this is quite peculiar also. So I was really, in that moment, I felt like my life stopped. And the doctor immediately asked me, did you understand? Because she was not sure I was understand properly. And I said, yes, I understood. It's anencephaly. Is a malformation incompatible with life. And immediately I was overwhelmed by this news. And I was still there lying down on the bed, and the doctor immediately said, okay, the only solution is to stop the pregnancy. And I was like shocked how was possible that already she was asking to take a decision like this. So I remember I was in tears and I said, no, I'm alone. There is no, my husband is not here. So I need to think about, let me understand what is happening. So I remember I wanted to go away immediately. And she said, it's better you go to, I want to take a second opinion. even if in this case it's very rare that there is a mistake in the diagnosis, because it's quite clear the problem. But I said, okay, let's do immediately. And she sent me immediately to another doctor, who was even worse of this doctor, because he confirmed the diagnosis. He said, like, yes, anencephaly. Okay, but you got already 3 kids, so it's okay. And you know, you are the 3rd woman today I do this same diagnosis. Like, I was really, so in that moment I felt with the pain such an anger that, believe me, I don't remember other time the same anger, because how dare you tell me I have already 3 kids, but what does it mean? It's like really no sense. So I went out of this hospital, and I was really, really desperate, because I was alone. My husband was abroad, and I didn't want to call him and giving him this notice. So I didn't do. I kept this pain with myself. And then, of course, I had to come back to my 3 kids, because I had 3 kids. And so it was really, I think, I believe this moment was the toughest one, because I felt so lonely, so overwhelmed. So from the other end, I needed to take care of my kids. As a mother, you cannot. So it was really a dramatic moment, especially when I went home. I remember that night was really, really a dark moment of my life. I will always remember, because the desperation, I think, was really inside my heart, because the only thought I had was, I cannot do this. I cannot do this. It's too much for me. I cannot deal with this. How I can, because at that time we were living in the Middle East. So we were already abroad, far from families, friends, with 3 young kids. And this also was my second big worry. I said, how can I allow my kids to live such a pain, to go through this path? I'm not alone, but how I can decide also for them? It is right? Of course, my feeling was I already love this baby, because for a mother, you feel is your baby. But it was very, very dark that night, especially because I was alone. Then when my husband came the day after, and I was able finally to give him this news, immediately I felt already a little bit better, just because we were together in this. And this was already the first step. And he told me, okay, we are in this together, and we will see, we will face this together. And from that moment, already I felt a little bit better. Then, of course, the first days were really, really difficult, because we had so many thoughts in our mind, so many worries, but from the other side, I didn't want to speak with other people. So I wait to call my parents. I needed some time to really realize what was going on, because really, when you have such a diagnosis, in this moment, you understand your life is changing, wherever decision you will take. If you also decide to do an abortion, or if you keep, but anyway, your life, it will never be the same. And I can tell you, my life changed in that moment, that day, that I remember. It was 30th of August. I really remember every year that day. And then slowly with my husband, and with the time, we started to feel our feelings, just to hear what we had in our mind, to speak, to discuss. And I started to say, how can I stop this pregnancy? Would be maybe easier at the beginning because of course, but then how I will feel, what I can tell to my daughters, because they were asking about the baby brother. They already decided a name, and so that moment, I think the moment of the decision of what to do, it was very, very difficult. And for sure, I think the doctors played a big role in this, because I'm sure if you find in front of you a doctor who maybe tells you, like happened later to me, look that this is a baby, is not only his malformation, this is a baby. What's his name? There is a history, there is a family for him. It's not only the anencephaly. Now you are looking only at this piece of the baby, but it's a baby. And if you find a doctor who helps you to look the entire picture, and maybe who can tell you, look, that maybe you can just going ahead with the pregnancy, and let's see, because maybe often these babies died inside the uterus, so you don't need to do anything, or maybe not, but maybe just to have the idea that there is another way.
Did you find at the time, was there any bit of support from the medical team? Because, you know, often here in the UK, a lot of mothers, when they receive a difficult diagnosis, it can be quite difficult, and they often feel pressured by medical staff, medical teams, doctors, to abort their unborn baby. You mentioned that was the first thing that was told to you. Was there any other voice there that could offer you a pro-life or hopeful opinion on your son's diagnosis?
So no, actually it was quite difficult for us to find support, because we started to look for some other doctors, because of course this doctor was not really keen to help us, but every doctor was shocked in front of our desire to keep this baby and to avoid the abortion. So what we did with my husband, we found, looking for on the web actually, and through friends, we found this Italian neonatologist who works for many years in New York. And she created the first neonatal hospice. And so we started to be in contact with her. We called her and explaining our situation and asking for some help. And this was the real first help we found. And she was really amazing, because even if she was in New York, and at that time we were living in the Middle East, so very far, but she didn't know us, but she was immediately available to support us, to guide us in this path. And it was very interesting, this meeting, because she explained to us why and how she decided to create this, the first, and it's called Neonatal Comfort Care Program, because the idea is that every life matters. Every life, even if very short, every baby is worthy of love and care. And this for us was immediately very clear, because even if the situation was very tough, because when you are in front of this kind of situation, it's difficult. But I loved already my baby, and my desire was to keep him and to be his mom for the time that he had. I don't know how long. So she confirmed me in my feeling. She said, of course, this is a good desire, is a normal desire for a mother, and it's possible to do. It's very normal to do. You don't need to do anything actually. So she started this friendship with her, and she was really one of the greatest support for us. But of course, we also needed to find a doctor in our city to deliver this baby. So we started to go to all the hospitals to look for a doctor. Every time I was trying to explain my reasons that were very simple, like I just don't want to kill this baby. I just want to accompany him and to be his mom until he will live. But the doctors were really like, why you want to do this? No, to stop this pregnancy, go for an abortion. So at the end, what we decided after, because this was very frustrating for me. So with my husband, we decided to try to come back to the first doctor who gave us the diagnosis. And I went there with my husband this time. I look at her and I said, doctor, I don't want to kill him. I just need you follow my pregnancy like you do with all the other women, and you help me to deliver. That's it. My only desire is to stay with him. Maybe he will die before birth, maybe not. I don't know. But if it's possible, if he will be alive, I would like to introduce him his sisters, because I had already 3 kids. And I just want to spend the time that he has with him. So the doctor, at that moment, she looked at me and she said, okay, now I understand you, and it's okay, I will help you. I will help you to deliver this baby. And I was very grateful, because at the end she was there. I needed to push her a little bit, but at the end she said yes. And I'm sure she was a good experience also for her, because at the end she thanks us for this experience.
Oh wow, that's amazing. That's really encouraging. Did you find that doctor purely from like Google search? In America, was it that from your book, Dr. Parvati? How did you come across the first doctor?
Dr. Elvira, you mean? Dr. Elvira from New York? Yes, true. I remember that in the past, I read an article about his comfort care program. And so I tried to recall this article, the name, and then through also some common friends, I would say, I was able to connect her and to find her, because yes, she works in a very big hospital in New York, so it's quite easy to find her. And the good thing is that she's really available to help people all over the world, and no matter if she knows that. In fact, I sent to her many people in the same situation. Yes, because she's always available. Then, of course, now she's also she's trying to train many doctors all over the world, because, of course, the idea is to have more doctors that are keen to support and help these mothers, because there are mothers that they don't want to do an abortion and they just want to keep the baby. And so I think this is a good way, because doctors often, I feel, they are just scared to be in front of the pain of the families, and they are scared that these babies may require extra care, extra work. But it's not like this, because actually most of the time these babies, they have anomalies, but you cannot do anything. So you can just wait, deliver them and be with them. In fact, she called the program Comfort Care Program, because you don't need to do anything, just being with them. They have the same needs and the same desire of all the others babies. So to be loved, to be fed, to be with their mom, and it's nothing special. So it's not required any kind of special care from the medical staff. It's not extra work. It's just a matter of be brave, maybe, and don't be scared of the sickness, of the death, which is something that is, by the way, part of our life. It's not something that we can hide.
Yeah, or escape from, fortunately. So here in the UK, you know, we come across a lot of pro-abortion supporters who claim that it's more merciful to abort a baby who has, you know, a life-limiting condition. It's seen as a good thing. What would you say to those who make such claims?
Okay, abortion means that you decide when to stop the life of this baby. In the other case, you just wait until naturally the life will stop by itself. So, I mean, it's death anyway, okay? I don't think is more merciful, because what people don't say is that it's just to the mothers the illusion of solve the problem, okay, immediately. But in reality, the pain, the sorrow, the guilty that they carry through all the life, it's very heavy. Instead, I can speak about my experience. I can tell you, especially having already 3 kids at home, that they were aware of the baby brother who was coming. So they started to ask when it's coming, everything is fine, we decide the name. So how I thought, no, when at that time, when all these doctors keep telling to me, you need to do the abortion, you need to do the abortion. And I thought about it, but I said, how I can go to my kids and say, okay, I terminate the pregnancy of your baby brother because he was sick. It's something that I couldn't think about. Instead, I was able, with struggle, of course, but I was able to go to my kids and say, look, your baby brother, unfortunately, is sick and he cannot live. So we just love him now for the time we will have. Maybe he will be alive for a very short time. This is why we need to use this time and to make every moment very precious, because then we will need to say goodbye. And of course, it was tough, it was sad for them, but they understood, because the kids are able to face the truth, and they are able to face the struggle, the difficulties, and this is very clear also in other situations. No? They just need to be accompanied. And same for us. I think the point is not to give the illusion to the mothers to solve quickly a problem, but to give them the support and the company, really the company, and saying, okay, we can do this together. I can be with you. I can tell you, you can have a beautiful moment with your baby, because what I can tell you, the life of our baby, Giacomo, was beautiful, and he brought, of course, a lot of pain. I don't want to hide this. It was difficult, but he brought a lot of joy, because every time a baby is born brings joy and brings meaning, brings many things that really are beautiful, these births. And I'm sure also if the doctor would start to try to assist these kind of births, they would see all this beauty. This is what happened to our doctors after the birth of Giacomo. She was so struck by all the love Giacomo had. All the people were there with us to support us. My kids, they brought the balloons, and it was, you know, a party, because Giacomo was born. Of course, then his life was very short, but in that moment we celebrate his life. And another point, I think, these babies bring a lot of meanings in terms of every time you have a baby, you deliver a baby, you don't know how will be his life, because everything can happen. So every time you decide to give birth, to be open to the life, you take the, how can I say, the risk of what life will bring, because you don't know. And this baby, with this baby is the same. And it's very clear that they bring something that is unexpected, you didn't want maybe, but then you realize how precious are every moment, how precious is the company of the people, how precious is really every life, not because you achieve something. This was the message that Giacomo brought also to his sisters, that the life doesn't matter because you achieve something, but just because you are loved. And this is the most important thing. Also, if you are loved for a few hours, maybe 1 minute, but it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's really important. And I think, you know, as you mentioned there, can be a difficult time for like couples and marriages. And if you could offer any guidance or advice to parents who've just found out that their baby has received a difficult diagnosis, what advice would that be?
For sure, I would say look for other families who went through the same path, because this is a journey who is possible, but you cannot be alone, because for sure it's difficult. So in my experience, the help of other families, other moms who went through the same experience was really one of the most important things, because and this is also the reason why I decided to share my story with the book, because all these parents that they decide to keep this baby, to give birth to this baby, they are happy. They don't have regrets, and they are always very happy to share their experience, because in all these years I met so many moms, and all of them, even through the books, maybe asking for some help, all of them, I never met one mom who delivered a baby who passed away very quickly, who said to me, no, look, it was a wrong choice, I did a mistake. Never. They all are so happy, and they are keen to share the experience. So I would definitely say look for these people, because there are people around. And then of course you need to find also a good, at least one doctor or a midwife, or someone from a medical point of view who can help you. I'm sure, like it was for me at the beginning, doctors are not keen to help you. Everyone, most of the time, they push women to go for which is the easiest road, which is the abortion, but keep looking for other doctors, because there are other doctors, there are many doctors, even maybe in other country like I did, and try to understand what you want to do, because also for me, my doctor didn't want to help me, but then I was so certain, and I went to her, I said, please, I want just to be a mom for this baby, help me. And at the end, I convinced her. So I think it's possible for sure also for other doctors and other women to do the same.
Brilliant. And where can people purchase your book?
There is on Amazon, on Kindle. So I really hope this could be an help for these parents, even if I had some beautiful feedback also from other people without not in the same situation, but because really I think these babies bring with them a lot of meanings which are interesting for everyone. So I really hope could be helpful.
Great. Thank you so much, Silvia, for joining us and sharing mother's hope for her baby. So I just thank you again for logging on all the way from Singapore. I do appreciate it. And yeah, I hopefully might see you soon one day in person. Thank you so much.